All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, today I'm going to do a video on a subscriber sent me a request and said, hey, Coach, we want to be a three-high team, but we're struggling with tight end sets. So today I'm going to do a video showing you versus some 21 personnel, the adjustments we make, the different things we carry when we need to make adjustments and exactly what those adjustments are. Make sure you check out some of our partners, GameStrat, sideline replay company we use. All right, if you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable, make sure you check out GameStrat. Excellent customer service. We never really have an issue with any of their hardware stuff. It's usually on our end if it's a Wi-Fi issue, but they're always quick to call, answer a call, let you know if you need help that they're always going to be there for you. See why everybody's making the switch to GameStrat. Dome hats, all right, which is the headwear company we use. This is one of my fitted Bishop Kenny hats, all right, with our Crusaders on the back, BK logo on the front. If you're looking for completely custom hats, they can now do them in 2 weeks. Their Turn 2 program. All right, if you want to customize a hat, build your own hat, you can build it however you want. Different style of hats, different enclosures, snapback fitted, Velcro. All right, you can put your logo on there. You can put any stitching or embroidery on there, any slogans you want. If you're looking for custom, make sure you check out Dome. All right, Baker Sporting Goods, which is a local company we use, and we use them for coaches' shirts like this. We use them for our sideline gear. We use them for our practice gear. They distribute our uniforms, so our uniforms come from them. They're in the shoulder pad world now with Pro Gear. All right, they're also big in the baseball world. So if you're looking for a one-stop shop, fans, coaches, players, make sure you check out Baker Sporting Goods. All right, JustPlay, which is the playbook software we use. All right, so I use it for my Patreon site when I'm gonna do anything on my Patreon site. I draw in JustPlay. We use it for our meetings, our presentations, our playbooks. Everything we do at Bishop Kenny is done through JustPlay, so make sure you're checking them out. And then Difference USA, which is the ultimate striking machine. All right, we have 2 or 3 of them in our weight room. They go right on our racks inside our weight room. You don't have to worry about teaching somebody how to hold a bag, provide leverage. If you want to learn how to strike and you want to strike violently, elbows in, thumbs up, I highly suggest you get the Difference USA machine because you can strike all year round without having to worry about injuries, other players holding a bag, getting injured, how to teach a guy how to hold a bag. It's just you and the Difference USA machine, so make sure you check out those guys. All right, so a couple things we do when we're playing tight ends, all right? So the first thing that everybody would look at if you were playing tight end sets is you would shade the front to the tight end, right, and get into an under front. So if we shade at the front, we put the end there, we put the nose there, we put the anchor, all right, and now we're kind of in that under front. Not exactly the 3-4 front, obviously, because we're 3 high, so our middle safety is the wild card, so we're going to end up, instead of having a jack linebacker and a safety to that side, we have a safety and another safety. So a lot of what we do in our 3 high stuff, we've got to be able to support things from the 3rd level. All right, but it would be very similar if you kick the front, all right, to where you are in an under front look. You can play quarters to the front side, whatever your adjustments are to the single. The middle safety is going to be the guy running the alley. He's going to be the bonus player back to the weak side, because if you were a 3-4 team, if I didn't have a middle safety, if I lined my middle safety up away from the Sam, all right, that's what a 3-4 team would look like. Maybe it's walked off and playing quarters. Maybe it's the jack or whoever it is as that loose 5 technique in the under front. All right, so that's what you would look like as a 3-4 team. As a 3-high team, all right, we look like that. Now, it is, all right, a simple adjustment to make, but the thing you got to understand as a 3-high team is, can we fit all those gaps? All right, can we get to a point where we can take care of all those gaps? If we shade at the front to the tight end, are we okay playing that lighter box with the middle safety? Because in our tight front stuff, the light box is meant to send everything outside. Well, now when we shade it, we've got a true bubble in here. All right, so with that true bubble, if we were getting any ISO deals, we'd have to fit the mic and the middle safety into the big bubble, right? You always want to get 2 guys into that big bubble. So it changes our fits a little bit. So what we try to do is we try not to mess with the front at all costs possible. So we try to stay tight, and the other reason for that, and I've been adamant about saying this in several other videos, is if they know that they can put a tight end in the game and get you out of tight front, it makes their game planning a lot easier, because most teams are comfortable, or more comfortable at least, blocking under fronts, over fronts, traditional odd fronts, all right? Where they struggle with their rules sometimes is with those 2 4 eyes, all right, how they're going to handle those. If they're trying to get guards out or pull, can they cut off those 4 eyes? Do they need to leave a guard on and pull a tackle, right? So the leverage of those 4 eyes, although it makes it a lot more conducive for offenses to pin, pull, and try and get to the perimeter, we know that they're trying to pin, pull, get to the perimeter. We know that we need to defend the perimeter. That's where we want the runs going. So when we stay with the tight front, we feel like we are messing with offense's rules, all right? And we feel like we are, kind of dictating to the offense, hey, you're going to have to change your game plan. You're going to have to block things a little bit differently, and you're going to have to work hard this week in practice to prepare, because we're not getting out of that front just because you put a tight end in, right? So the first thing we do is we plus our backers over to the tight end side to give us a little bit better leverage. All right, so what people are not going to like here is they're not going to like that you've got a down block there and a down block angle on the mic there, right? So people aren't going to be real happy with that. All right, that's why the C-gap edge and with a tight end, all right, 2 guys with leverage, 2 guys with angles. We're not really comfortable with that. So for us, our Sam would have to be a hard edge guy that can support an edge here, and then we've got to get fits from second and third level players, right? Especially in our quarters look, that's 2 third-level safeties that have to fit, right? But what ends up happening, all right, in the tight front is now if they want to run gap schemes, so if you said, all right, they're going to get good angles on gap schemes down there, well, now they got to make their mind up. What are they going to do, all right, with the nose? What are they going to do with the backside 4-eye, right? So if they want to stay to where they can double the nose to try and get to the will, now on the backside, they probably got to pull a tackle if they're trying to run power or some type of gap scheme, because now, all right, when they do that, okay, now they've got to handle the 4-eye. If they think they can still run, where we've got to win is if they think they can still run their traditional gap schemes, all right, we've got to win with our 4-eye. So our 4-eye has got to be able to beat all these back blocks, cutoff blocks from the tackle. So a 4-eye can't get cut off by a tackle, because that means if they pull a guard, they can still double the nose. Now, by plussing the backers over, we feel like we give the will linebacker a little bit better, all right, leverage position on the double team, so that if he gets the pullers and he gets ready to run, we're hoping that we change the angle so that the will can get over the top of the double team, right? So one of the first things we'll do is we plus the linebackers over to the tight end side, right? Again, trying not to get out of tight front. I don't want to get out of tight front just because you formation me. If I do that, you're going to formation me all night long. You're going to put tight ends, all right, in the game, and you're going to make me get out of tight front. I don't want to get out of tight front just because you put a tight end in the game, right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to plus our linebackers over. Now, for us, because it doesn't affect our coverage structure, the next thing we can do is we can make an adjustment where we play the mic to the tight end in a 7. All right, so again, if we were getting 21 pro sets, we could stay with the tight front, and that is our goal. We want to stay tight as long as we can. That's who we are. So now we can put the mic in a 7. All right, so there's our Sam. We're getting ready to play. Traditionally, we're going to play quarters to most tight end flanker sets. We don't have to play it all the time. But now that the mic's in a 7, now, all right, we put the mic in a better position to be able to handle. It's still the same gaps. It's still the same leverage. But now that's a base block on the line of scrimmage that the tight end's got to win on, okay? And now we've got the same angles on the 4-eye and the mic, all right? So they can still come with the same gap schemes, all right? So now they got to figure out again what they want to do, how they want to work that, all right? They got to figure out what they want to do back there for the 4-eye. But now it's the same system of support for us, all right, to where now we've got to be able to fit with third level players. All right, when they're trying to pull somebody there, we should have at least 2 for their 1 puller, even if the will gets blocked. Right, so if we put the mic up on the ball, all right, if we put the mic up on the ball, now when we put the mic on the ball, we have made it a little bit tougher. It's still, again, same leverage, same gaps, nothing's really changed. The mic is just fitting from on the ball now. So we think that makes it a little bit tougher block for the tight end. I think it changes the picture a little bit for the coordinator, where that box doesn't look as light as the 3-2 tight front box. But again, we have not gotten out of, all right, our tight front. Now, the other thing we'll do when we play teams, depending on how they want to block the nose, all right, is game plan wise to the sniffer or away, we can always move the nose where we need to move the nose. all right, we can always gain the nose. The other thing we can do if we're getting gap runs to the tight end side, one of the things we like to do is we like to game the 4-eye in the nose. All right, so I would take this 4-eye and I'd work him down inside. If the guard comes at him, he'll cross face. If the guard goes away, he'll squeeze, and I'll take the nose and I'll bring him behind. All right, and now it's kind of like you're humping in an old 4-2-5 over front when you had a shade on the backside and he gets a back block with a pull scheme. You're naturally bringing the nose over the top, all right, of the gap scheme. So you're trying to get an extra body from the nose over the top of the gap scheme, knowing that on the backside you're going to have a cutback player and you've got a 4-eye that they've got to handle, so that if the ball did knife or penetrate inside when the nose left, you should have a cutback player and a 4-eye that they've got to handle. All right, so we can also game the nose with one of our calls to where we bring the nose, all right, to the front side. Now, the reason we don't like doing that right away is because obviously most 21 personnel teams can go ahead and go counter back the other way, right? So they can go counter back the other way and they can try and get guard sniffer, right? So if we're bringing the nose to the sniffer because we think that's an answer, well, if they go counter the other way, all right, we've got to hope that our 4-eye, all right, they're probably going to end up, if they double and they try to cut the 4-eye off, now that's where we're trying to gain the 4-eye on the movement inside, because if the center doesn't block back, if the center blocks back, then the 4-eye movement is going to be null and void for us because the center's going to block them. But now we know they can't get to the will because they're going to have to block the nose down. All right, so we've got some games built into our tight front that we can use. We've got some things that we can do. But again, when you start gaming, the thing I don't like about games is you're guessing, is the ball going to the sniffer? So if I'm going to stunt the nose, my stunt's going to be based on the tendencies of the offense. What do they do out of that set? Because if I stunt the nose strong, there's really no readout for him. The 4-eye's going and he's going. If they run counter the other way, now I'm kind of running the nose out of a play. If they run power at the sniffer and my tendencies are right and I guess correctly on the game, now I'm bringing the nose like I'm beating a back block over the top and I'm adding a body to the side of the tight end runs, right? So if they're heavy tight end run, that's always another good way to kind of answer that, is kind of slam the 4-eye inside, read the guard, bring the nose behind them. So that's another thing that we do. We also play traditional over front with our Mike linebacker, all right? So we can kick the front down and play over with our Mike linebacker. Same coverage structures. Middle safety is still a fitter off a 3. All right, so now you get a traditional over front. So now you're probably going to get doubles on a 3, working back to the will. You're going to get a back block on the nose. So now we got to work on hump and nose, right? You can get a normal hinge. Now on the front side, they've got to figure out, they could arc and kick, and now our Mike's got to spill, right? But we're still trying to get 2 third-level players in the fit, all right, with a cutback player coming behind it. So we can change the front, all right, and we can play some 4 down. We can play some over front stuff, all right? It's something that we like to do, all right? We don't change our structure. We fit it out of our 3-high structure. So there's other ways within the front we can change it and make it a true 4-2-5, but we try to stay 3-high. We try to stay tight front as long as we possibly can, so that when we are getting tight ends, we have adjustments that we can make, all right? And then depending on the runs that we're getting, obviously as soon as you get into 4 down, you've got the games you can run from 4 down, right? So we can run end under and the nose away and get back to over, all right? When we go 4 down, we can bring the end under and try and bring the mic under and get everything swallowed out that way and keep, all right, the guard, or keep the double, hopefully, all right, off of the will if we can. If they're good at what they're doing, then the guard's going to eat up that movement. The tackle's going to gallop and get to the will. But now when I slam the mic down in there, if the tackle leaves, now we know we're going to get that ball spilled, especially if they're trying to block it traditional. So if they were trying to block that traditional, we're hoping that if the tackle gets off to the will, we're hoping that the mic can cause an issue there, because now they're going to get up to the next level and kick there, right? So we have our normal, all right, 4-man games built in. We could torch it off the nose if we wanted to on our 4 down. All right, so again, one of the reasons we like using the mic is we don't change personnel. We don't change how we fit things. A little bit unconventional, unconventional for some people, all right, to play 4 down, 3 high. We do it. We don't do it all the time. We don't live in it, but we do it. We could torch the nose now, so if we were getting, all right, gap schemes working back, we could run the stunt where the 3 is going to cross face of the guard, read the center. If the center goes away, he's going to try and pin the hip of the center. Nose reads that. Nose loops over the top. If the reason I like this is if we got counter game, all right, this one's a little bit better than just looping the nose in tight, because if the center block back there, now the nose would squeeze and pin the hip of the center. The 3 technique would try and go behind there, right? So that's just what a lot of the college guys call their torch movement. All right, so obviously one of our answers is we could get to 4 down. We can play 4 down. We do that a bunch, all right, if we need to versus tight end sets. We're going to try and go in with our 3 down tight, 3 high theory. That's who we are. That's how we play football. All right, so we can do that. We know we can do that. If that's an issue for us, like I said, we plus the backers first. Second thing we'll do, all right, if the plus and the backers doesn't work for us, all right, the second thing we'll do is we will put the mic on the tight end. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll game plan some of our movements and some of our pressure stuff in. All right, so it's kind of a deal where, hey, we go in and we play base, we plus the backers. If that's not working, we can put the mic on the tight end. If that's not working, we can try and go 4 down. If that's not working, we can go back to 3 down and use some of our movements. So gap scheme wise, all right, you can come with your traditional, all right, your traditional long stick game, America's blitz off the front side. Now you're going to get a safety roll down behind that. The middle safety is going to roll down and replace the mic. That's your backside kind of 2-seam cutback player. We're going to roll to the middle of the field there, and we're going to play 3 deep. So that gets us out of quarters. That basically becomes a way to play 8-man front, post defense. All right, so we're going to close the middle of the field. We're going to play 8-man fronts. We're going to bring some of our movements, all right, from there, some different things that we can do from there. All right, if depending on the game plan, if we want to internal plug some stuff, all right, so we can go with some of our internal plug deals where now all right, so now we can run some of our, depending on what they're running. And again, a lot of this is all game plan stuff, right? What are they doing? What do we need to do? We can come back with some internal plugs, so we'll take the 4-eye and spark him to the C gap. Bring the nose away, bring the anchor away, and now we'll go Mike first, middle safety behind him, and then we'll play trap flat, half, 2-seam vision and break, 2-seam vision and break. Now we're bringing internal plugs to the side of the sniffer if we think we're getting a lot of gap scheme runs, try and change some of those things out. Middle safety is always a guy that can read out, so if he's coming down and he sees guard pull away for counter, he can go over the top, right? If he sees a gap scheme where now if they're trying to double a nose, well now if he sees the guard picks up, all right, if the guard works to double the nose hard down there, now when the mic goes, the mic's going to get blocked probably by the tackle, and now he knows the middle safety nose is tight off of that, all right, guard's down block on the nose right there. We can penetrate through the A gap there, right? So one of the things, and subscriber asked me about, hey, can I play 3 high? I'm getting tight end sets. Yes, you can do it. Yes, we do it. All right. Yes, we do it all the time. Sometimes it's personnel based to say, can you do it? All right. Will you be able to do it? Will you not be able to do it? But again, my deal is I don't want to get out of tight front until I absolutely have to. All right. So I don't want to get out of tight front until I absolutely must. So the first thing we'll do is we'll kind of push. All right. We'll push backers to the side of the tight end and stay in tight front before we make any front adjustments at all. All right, so if we were seeing twins to the nub side, we usually play sky, safety down, corner off the top. All right, we may plus our backers to the tight end side depending on what the runs are. We feel pretty good. Back to the open side because the Sam sets himself to the passing strength. If that was an issue, all right, we could also play a deal versus RPO teams where we man up the corner into safety so we can slide the Sam back into the box. Now when we do that, you'll get more of a traditional 3-3 6-man box. So now we've changed the box looks a little bit. So for me, the biggest deal is when I'm playing teams that are tight end teams, I don't want to get out of tight front just because they're tight end teams. If that's the case, they're going to put a tight end team. They're going to put a tight end in the game, 2 tight ends in the game, and they're going to try and get you out of tight front. I want to be in tight front because I think that's what causes people issues. That's what makes us different. I want to stay tight as long as I can. I realize that the angles and the leverage on certain things are not great. So yes, we have answers. Yes, we have built-in answers that we can go to. All right, but I don't want to go to those answers right away, and I certainly don't want to get out of tight front right away because I feel like if you wanted to attack a tight front team and you knew that formationally you could get them out of tight front, that's the first thing you would do. And then for us as a tight front defense, we would never be able to play our base defense because somebody would formation us out of it every single game. All right, so we plus our backers. We have the adjustment to put the mic up on the tight end side. We have a 4-down adjustment that we can use. We have some pressures that we like. All right, so my biggest, the thing that I would talk to people about the most is if you want to be tight front 3 high, find a way to play bigger structures, tight end base structures in your tight front defense because if your first adjustment is getting out of it, then it really doesn't make sense to be a tight front team, in my opinion. Now, tight front, if you know you're playing 10 and you know you're playing 11 and you're not concerned about it because the Y's off and you're okay with the Y being off, then so be it. Carry tight front for those weeks. All right, we're a tight front team as a base. That's what we do. We carry it every week. So if you come with heavier sets, we have to have a few adjustments and a few answers, but our answer is never going to be checking out a tight front because to me, offense wins the game. They now know, put this personnel in, get them out of that front. Now you don't really affect the game plan. They can block all fronts like they normally do. To me, the tight front is the one that makes them block things different, makes them change their angles and their leverage and who they're pulling and how they handle 4 eyes. So I want to be in tight front as long as possible. So I appreciate the question. Thank you for asking. Yes, we stay tight front versus 21 personnel teams. Maybe not so much versus 22, depending on the game plan. But we're going to find ways to stay in it as long as we can, whether that be using the mic as a 4th down on the tight end side, gaming some of the guys up front, whatever we need to do to stay in the tight look, because I want teams to know that we're not getting out of tight front just because of personnel, because I need you to know that you still need to be able to block that front. All right, so I hope this helps you guys out. If your season's going, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope everybody's healthy, team's healthy, coaches are healthy. I hope you're winning some games. If you haven't won, I hope you are getting some stuff fixed. College football has started again, and the big takeaway from that for me is everybody is tempo, tempo, tempo. Teams are trying to play as fast as humanly possible, making it really difficult on the defense. Look at a lot of games from week 1, and even some of the blue bloods, some of the best teams, giving up a lot of points. You got to understand as a defense coordinator, if that's the world we're living in, how do we slow people down? How do we limit explosives? And how do we cut down our points per possession? As always, if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. Turn the notifications on, ring that bell, you know every time we do a video. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you like the video or don't like the video. Always leave a comment because videos like this I like to do off of comments. So even if it's a video I've done before, I've talked about 3 high versus tight end sets before, but anytime it's an individual question from somebody, I am always going to try and answer that question for somebody in a video. All right, so I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for everything you do for me. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. Stock cats suck. Dome to the moon. See you next time.